Hi, it's Kim Louise and welcome back. This is video number 2 of the Creating a Phenomenal Life by Discovering What It Is That Makes You Happy, this 3-part video series, and I'm really happy that you're joining me for this. So yesterday I talked about how I kept looking outside of me to create my happiness and looking to outside people and outside circumstances to make me happy, and how that didn't work very well for me. And it doesn't work very well for, most people. I mean, how well has it worked for you? And if you can't find out what it is and don't know what it is that makes you happy, and I believe I shared that 46% of people don't know what it is that makes them happy, well, a lot of times what that is we have judgment in our universe, and polar opposites can't exist in the same space. So if you have a lot of judgment in your universe, and I'm going to say maybe a lot of people do, or maybe even most of us do, have a lot of judgment in our universe, then that blocks out the happiness. So I'm going to share 3 really awesome tools with you today. And the first one is letting go of judgment. Because if you can let go of judgment, you open up a whole new space where you can let happiness in. Have you ever thought maybe it's been really hard to find out what your happiness is or what makes you happy because you have been so full of judgment? And so how do you get rid of self-judgment or even judgment of others? Well, what is judgment? Judgment is a thought. Here's a judgmental thought, like, why did I do this? That was stupid. Or why are they doing that? That's so stupid. So a really cool way to look at that is if our thought forms are judgmental, and we are all energetic beings. Science has proven that everything is energy. So that includes us, and that also includes our thought forms. So all the thoughts we have, like our happy thoughts, our sad thoughts, our judgmental thoughts, they are all energy. Thoughts are energy. And it's been discovered that, or maybe I shouldn't say discovered, but it's been suggested by a man named Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, that 98% of our thoughts, feelings, and emotions don't belong to us. Now, what does that mean? It means they aren't ours. If we're all energetic beings, thoughts are energy, and we're these big radio receivers, and we're picking up all the thoughts of the people around us, then how many of those thoughts are originally ours, are actually our thoughts? Well, it's honestly something to think about. So, if 98% of our thoughts, feelings, and emotions don't belong to us, how about we get rid of those 98% of thoughts, feelings, and emotions of others, create a whole lot more space up here, get rid of that mind chatter, because most of our mind chatter is negative and is judgment. So if we can get rid of that, how much of a happy life could we create? Well, is it worth a try? So I'm going to share this tool with you, and it's really simple. It might sound a little crazy, but too bad. What have you got to lose if you try this? So seriously, I invite you to try this tool. So here's how simple it is, and it's on the PDF sheet that I'm sharing with you here on this page. Every time you get a thought coming in your way, just ask, who does this belong to? Yep, I know, sounds nutty, right? But every time, you got a judgment, you see something going on, and you're like, oh, that's annoying. Ask, who does this belong to? And if it's not yours, it will lighten up. And lighten up can be different for everybody. I mean, I feel things more like in my chest area. A lot of people feel stuff in their solar plexus. And it can just be not even so much a body sensation. It can just kind of be a lightness of being. It's really hard to describe, but everybody's is different. So again, this may sound like a really wonky tool. And if you're familiar with the workings of Access Consciousness, then you will be very familiar with this tool because it's one of the most well-known and dynamic tools of Access Consciousness. So for 3 days straight, Gary Douglas invites us to try this. For 3 days straight, for all the thoughts that are coming into your universe, ask, who does this belong to? If it lightens up, it means it's not yours. Just say return to sender, or that's not mine. Pick something that works for you. Play with this. What have you got to lose? And to go along with that, just be aware that you're going to forget to do it. I have done this. I can't tell you how many times I've done it. And the first few times I attempted it, I'm going to be totally honest, I would do it for a couple of hours and then I'd forget and I'd go on about my day. So if you're going to try this, stick a reminder on your phone or your computer calendar or whatever works for you. Stick a string on your finger or switch your rings around. I used to have a friend that would do that. She'd take one ring off, put it on another finger, and take that one off and put it on another finger. And that was her reminder that she had something to remember. Stick stickies all over your house. I used to stick stickies all over my house. And I'd write on it, who does this belong to? And I'm not kidding. If you try this, it doesn't matter if you can't do it constantly for 3 days. I really want you to try this because I think, honestly, you'll find that all this stuff going on up here is going to quiet down. And how would it get any better than that if you had a quieter mind? Would that allow a little more space in your universe and a little more space for you to find out what it is that makes you happy? I think it might. So that's tool number 1. Tool number 2 is take time for you and explore. So it's kind of like a double tool. So again, take time for you. Do you actually take time for you, or are you too busy looking after everybody else in your life? You got to take time for you if you want to find your happiness. If you're super busy, whether it's just doing to-dos or if you're super busy looking after everybody else in your life, if you've got kids, spouse, parents, job, career, whatever it is, we all are really good at creating busyness in our lives. And what if it is more about taking a bit of time for you? And as I added on to that, and explore. Explore some things that make you happy. And how can you do that exploration? Take a look at what you liked to do when you were a kid. Just sit and think about it for a minute. A lot of people say, oh, I don't remember. Well, what if you sat down for a whole 5 minutes, 10 minutes, even just close your eyes and think about what you liked to do when you were a kid? I can tell you when I was a kid, I loved to be outside. I loved to do jigsaw puzzles. I loved to draw. I loved to do all kinds of things. And what I found was, if I really looked at it, the last 8-10 years when I've really been looking more, taking a whole lot more time to look after me, I've been re-exploring a lot of that. Now, some of it I've always been doing. Like when I was a little kid, I loved to be in the kitchen with my mom and bake. Well, as an adult, I've always loved to bake and I've always loved to cook. And when I was a little kid, I used to love to sit down and write poetry. And I mean, I don't even know where that came from. And in the last probably 3 or 4 years, I've become a published author. Not of poetry, but I did write a book. So obviously I love writing. But I didn't even, explore that throughout all of my adulthood until the last few years. And I thought, I got back to writing and I loved it. And another thing I loved to do when I was a kid, I would just sit down and draw or paint or whatever. And then as an adult, I never did that because how much of us are perfectionists? We judge all the stuff we do and I'm not going to do it unless I'm going to do it perfect. So a few years ago, I have a friend who lives locally here in the same city as I do, who's an artist, and she's a really good artist. And she invited a bunch of us to come and take classes with her, and I was like, oh, no, thanks. I'm not, I'm not artistic at all. Like, I'm the queen of stick men. And she said, did you like to draw when you were a kid? And I was like, yeah. And she said, well, come and play with us. And I was like, so I kind of just checked in with myself, and it was like, oh, that felt really light and fun for me. So I went and did it. And you know what? All the stuff I did, it wasn't that good. But you know what? While I was in that class working on my projects, I was really present. Like I was in the zone. I was so present. I wasn't thinking of outside things, outside thoughts. I was focusing on the project I was working on. And when I wasn't judging what I was working on, I had so much fun. And I actually grabbed something here to show you, just to say, hey, find what it is you like to do, and you don't have to be good at it. So here she is. I'm going to bring it over to the camera. I mean, okay, seriously, I'm not Picasso. This is not ever going to hang into an art gallery. But it was just like, I wanted to show you that because, hey, that was super, super fun for me. So again, that's what I want to invite you to do. Explore. Get out there and explore what it is that is fun for you to do. Because if you add some activities to your life that are fun, you're going to be happier. And I know you're going to say, I don't have time. You've got to make the demand. So that's tool number 2. Tool number 3, I'm sure you've heard maybe about 1,000,000 times, but I'm going to ask you, do you do it? So here it is. Tool number 3 is practice gratitude. Yep, simple. You've heard of it 1,000,000 times. And do you do it? Truth? So yeah, what I think works really well for this is doing this first thing in the morning. I try and do it as soon as I wake up. And then I don't have the monkey mind starting like, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to call so-and-so, I got to go, whatever it is I got to do. I got to get to the gym, I got to get ready for my work day, whatever it is. As soon as I wake up, I'm saying, I'm so grateful. And it's like, I'm so grateful I woke up. I'm so grateful for this beautiful home I live in. I'm so grateful for my cats. I'm so grateful for my partner. I'm so grateful that I have a loving family, whatever it is. I'm grateful that I have a source of income, whatever that is. And if, things aren't going that great for you, like literally just be grateful that you had a bed to sleep in. I mean, how much of the world doesn't have a bed to sleep in? So that to me is a really huge one. Practicing gratitude. And again, I like it first thing in the morning. And again, I just do it in my head, but honestly, I think a lot of people really recommend writing it down because there is a connection between your brain and your hand when you're writing things down. There's a connection there. You got some synapses going off. So do write it down. I don't necessarily do that when I first get up, but often I will do it later in the day if I think of it. I actually have a journal where I do keep gratitude. And so I think a gratitude journal is a really good idea. So those are the 3 tools I wanted to share with you today. So again, if you haven't done so already, after the video, download the PDF of the 3 tools, keep them handy, read them every day, and do them every day. Honestly, they work. They're really simple tools and they work. So let go of the judgment. Ask, who does this belong to for every thought, feeling, and emotion? Number 2, take time for you and explore. And number 3, practice gratitude. I'd really love to hear from you to let you know what you think about these tools. I'd love to hear from you after you've practiced them a little bit. And video number 3 is going to come in 2 more days. So you get a break tomorrow. Well, you don't get a break. You got to practice the tools if you want to. So yeah, I'll see you in a couple of days.